Workers of this country, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Workers of Uganda, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A brain, oh yeah.
A brain, oh yeah. Oh yeah. A senior trade unionist, oh yeah. Oh yeah. A person ready for the job, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The workers have gone through a lot of difficulties as they labor so hard, but they remain economically disempowered. The question of economic empowerment must be high on the agenda, because people who produce must have a fair share of the wealth that they generate. We cannot continue generating wealth, yet we remain the most disadvantaged, most vulnerable, most left behind amongst all the people that are really engaged in economic development in the country. As far as I'm concerned now, my contest as my being elected as a member of parliament is going to give me an opportunity to acquire a platform through which I'm going to vigorously advocate for the economic empowerment of the workers. In fact, economic empowerment is the major focus in regard to my representation as a member of parliament. But I believe that we rather create employment for our people here in Uganda than have them exported. I will strongly advocate against export of labor to the Arab world or any other parts of the world, apart from those who are going as very highly skilled labor. But to continue collecting workers in rural areas and ferrying them to go and work in the Middle East and other parts of Europe, me, I don't think that's the right thing. The question of minimum wage is an important aspect, because minimum wage is a concept that is globally accepted. Everywhere, all countries have tried to put in place a minimum wage to regulate exploitation. But the minimum wage in Uganda is not going to be given to us on a silver plate. It is going to come as a struggle. And all that we have to do is to mobilize workers countrywide with a clear demand that we must have a minimum wage. Only then shall we be able to have a minimum wage. But for us to sit here thinking we are going to just talk and the minimum wage is given to us without a struggle, it will not happen. Because the people who give minimum wage believe that they are going to lose profit. And when they lose profit, it will mean that their empire will not be expanded. So they will always work towards frustrating minimum wage. So we must impress upon them through a struggle that a minimum wage is necessary and they will be able to give it.
Liberator, oh yeah. Matukhu,
Workers would not need to create issues outside what they want, so that we can be able to represent the workers very well in the parliament. The third issue I'm trying to look at is strengthening the national centers, KOFTU and the NOTU. Those centers need to be strengthened so that they can be able to represent the workers effectively. They have a role of research, they have a role of policy, they have a role of coordination. So if you strengthen the national centers, you'll be able to strengthen the workers' fraternity in this country. We also need to cater for elderly workers in this country. Elderly workers who have left employment have never been attended to. We are trying to look at a scenario where we shall be able to provide them with some offices so that they can be able to help us in consultation, in guiding us, because they also have the institutional memory which we need to maintain. They have the indigenous knowledge of trade unionism so that we can be able to address workers' issues collectively. And another issue we would like to address in this country for workers is the issue of review of some laws. Some of the laws are not really helping us, especially the law of terminal benefits, that gratuity. The law is very clear that it is negotiable, but you can't allow a small worker to negotiate with a powerful employer. That's why you need the trade unions to be there to ensure that we negotiate the employers gratuity for workers. And I know the law has been worked on, but we have not completed it, because many workers are leaving employment without terminal benefits because the law says it's negotiable. I think that issue must be addressed. And another issue we need to address is that unions have to be recognized. After you are registered, you should be recognized. Many employers don't want to recognize the unions. That's the reason why we have low trade union density in this country. So we shall ensure that this law of recognizing the unions must have time frame. If the employer is to recognize the union within 1 month or 3 months, it's okay. But you cannot allow employer to recognize the union after 3 years when the membership is already lost. So we really need that law to be revised Like the one in Tanzania, when you get a form for filling from the Ministry of Gender and Labor, your work is only to go and give this to the employer for check off. But in Uganda here, they need recognition. After recognition, you now go to sign collective bargaining. It's a long process which we need to address. That's why the trade union density in this country is very low. And we want to empower the trade unions to ensure that they must catch up with the changing things in this world, the emerging issues. You have the issues of artificial intelligence, issues of automation, issues of electrification in this country. Because of electrification, some workers are already losing their jobs. So we need to organize meetings and symposiums so workers can be reskilled in order to catch up with the automation. You are aware that Kera Motors now produces electrical buses, but these buses come with their drivers. What about the drivers who are already there, who are not skilled to do that work? So we need to reskill our workers so that they can catch up with the issue of automation, IA, issue of just transition. All these issues are affecting workers. If we don't address them, it will affect employment for our workers in this country. So it is very important that we look at these aspects and we also increase the cooperation among the workers. Trade unions are getting split everywhere. Like teachers, we know teachers have 7 unions, and yet there used to be only one union called UNATU, and other unions are splitting. So we need to work towards the unification of all trade unions in this country so that they become very strong to address workers' issues. Issues like minimum wage, issues like outsourcing, issues like casualization, they are happening in this country. So we need to get the workers together to fight for their rights. Without fighting for their rights, workers will be able to move forward with their agenda. So we need really to come together as workers and we cooperate and we see how we can move our unions together. But the last thing is, many unions are ending. They don't have their homes. We want unions to have their own homes, their own offices. Because if you continue rending, the money which you're supposed to use for organizing, the money we're supposed to use for recruitment, the money we're supposed to use for utilities, for paying staff, now you are using for paying the landlord. So the unions are not very strong in terms of that. So we need to ensure that all the unions in this country must have their own premises so that we can know where to find them and so that we can be able to assist them where they're supposed to be. So that's one of the most important things. Trade unions must take, they should stop renting. They should have their own homes, and we shall work together to ensure that trade unions have their own homes. Thank you very much.
I'm James Prime Minister for who are represented to Parliament, declare Kunihira Agness being nominated as a candidate for this position as woman representative to Parliament.
And what are we going to do? This time around, we have already performed very well in terms of legislation, in terms of representation, in terms of oversight, and in terms of appropriation. Those are the roles of members of parliament. But we have done far better in terms of coming back to our people. We have carried out oversight at factory levels. We have identified key issues that have guided us towards making laws. Of recent, we passed the OSHRO, and it arose out of moving out and seeing what is happening at factory level. You also recall that in this term, we passed the law on NSSF, but there is still need for amendments because there were some gaps, which we think this time around we are going to improve. You are aware we passed that a person who has served for 45 years, served for 10 years, and is 45 can access their money. But we found out that there are those ones who have done 9 or 9 with maybe 9.5. They cannot access their money even when they are 45. So we need to improve on that law. We have performed very well on the issue of the Employment Amendment Bill that was presented by myself as a private member, but we failed on issues of casualization of labor, and we are looking forward to tackle that issue this time round from a serious note. You are aware a number of factories are employing all workers as casuals, both skilled and unskilled. So together we are going to work as a team to make sure that we eliminate the issue of casualization of labor, because it is exploitive. The worker cannot save with NSSF. A work is not entitled to leave. A work does not rest. So it means you must be working throughout if you want to earn something. So that is an area we're going to tackle. As workers also, as workers representatives, we are concerned with the payee threshold. For the last 10 years, the threshold has been at 250. If you earn 250, you are taxed. Pay as you earn. But we feel for the last 10 years, everything has increased. Rent, the cost of food, and the cost of everything. So it would be better for us to advocate for the tax policy to make sure the payee threshold is lifted from 250 this time around, maybe to 500. You're also aware we still have issues with government because of salary discrimination. The sciences and the arts. We feel now government should harmonize to avoid discrimination, because government must live by example. The fact that they are paying a discriminative salary, it affects other factories, other employers. They say if government can do it, we can also do it. So those are some of the key areas we are going to tackle.
I am the returning officer for Member of Parliament representing workers. Woman representative to Parliament. Declare Nakku Fiona newly nominated as a candidate for the Member of Parliament representing workers. Fiona, congratulations.
Parliament, oi! Akabonero meza, oi! Okulira wamu ne bawakazi, oi! Ali abali mu zi evening zi! Abatasobola zi! Babadde bamuwulira zoi! Kati kabamwerabireko zoi! Kati abayite mu zoi! Bajja kakasa zoi! Bagenda kuzirika zoi! Bagenda kufuako bwezi! Bagenda mumanya bwezi! Ate nga yazezo!
Congratulations, Fiona!
Fiona!
We have seen the leadership in the workers' fraternity, and we have been seeing a gap of the young people missing. We have the young people now to be represented, and I'm here, Nakku Fiona, asking for the mandate of all the workers in Uganda so that we can bring this home. Yes, majorly, we have seen the workers' bills being passed, but nothing yet to be implemented. We have seen the elder people being catered for in the workers section, but the young people are pending. So we want to concentrate now on the young people as we take on the other groups of people, because we see someone graduating today, seeking for a job opportunity tomorrow, and then is asked for a work history, a work experience of 10 years. These are the issues that we want to be able to address on behalf of the young people. The external labor that is being taken out of the country. We want to see how best we can forge a working relationship between Uganda and those other countries, so that when our brothers and sisters leave for the Cheyo, the Nkuba Cheyos, we know they are in safe hands, and this will be initiated at the floor of Parliament, and that is where we are going, so that we can be able to represent all the young people working and intending to work abroad.
My name is Birungi Annet. I'm aspiring as a member of Parliament, Workers' Vote. Right now, I'm coming to contest because of the wages. We need a minimum wage because people are getting very small salaries. I fought for the salaries of the nurses and midwives of this country, and they got it. Therefore, I know that if I am given a mandate by the workers of this country, I will make sure I negotiate for the fair salaries for both private and government. 2, discrimination of workers. The women are discriminated, the youth are discriminated, and the people do not have jobs. There is salary disparities. We need to voice for you. And one of the things that I want to push most is that the casualization. Casualization is disturbing the workers in this country. And I understand that some Chinese even have reached an extent of beating workers. We need a voice. We need a voice. We need the workers to voice for the lower people down.
Thank you.